Hey everyone, it is Michael Osborne. I'm popping on today with an announcement. An announcement and a request, and to share some thoughts about where I'm at and where the show's at and where I hope things will go. Okay, so first off, I'm going to take a break. I'm going to pause from recording and releasing Famous and Gravy episodes for the time being. I'm calling this a pause, a hiatus. I don't feel like I'm done with the show. I am absolutely planning on coming back. I care about the show. I care about the audience. I care about the experience. I love doing this. But there are some good reasons for me to take a break for a minute. First of all, there's practical things, the economics of the show, how much time and money I'm putting into it, and how much, I'm getting on return, which is, part of the story here. It's just practical. And I've got to make sure I'm being responsible in my life. I'm sure you can appreciate that. But, it's much bigger than that in some ways. I mean, many of you who've been listening for a long time know that I started the show with Amit. Amit's had to take a step back, and more I've been kind of leading the show all on my own. And I think I need to take a look at what I'm doing. Actually, that's kind of the best next thought to go to. I need to take a look at what I'm doing, and this is where you come in. I need your help. I need to know more about your experience of Famous and Gravy. I have really high expectations for this show. I want it to be awesome. I want it to be an experience that every time somebody tunes in, they feel like they get something great out of it, that it's fun and entertaining, but also thoughtful and maybe smart and maybe offers some ideas and ways of looking at things that you hadn't experienced before. Those are my expectations of the show, but I don't know how good a job I'm doing with all that. And so I need to pause and listen. I guess to say a word about that, one thing that for me is true about Famous and Gravy is that I feel like there's a couple of ways we might develop the concept. I feel like the approach we've taken with this show has opened up some sort of interesting possibilities. One of which is very personal. This is a, show that is a designed conversation with friends. And one of the things we've learned is that every life, when looked at in a certain way, has meaning and value and legacy and things we missed. And we can turn that back on ourselves as individuals and say, well, where am I in all this? What am I doing with my life? What do I want to be doing with my life? And how can I use a celebrity biography to learn more about that? So it's very individual and personal in that way. I think there's also another kind of higher level idea hovering around Famous and Gravy, which is, I guess, more cultural or sociological. There has always been this belief on the show that celebrities are symbols in a way, that people become famous for certain reasons. And those reasons help us understand society and culture, as if celebrity is a mirror back on us. Whether you're looking at this at an individual level or more of a cultural level, I don't need to get too uptight about how separate those ideas are, but this is some of the sort of curiosity that's always driven the show. And I'm wondering if I can do some of that better. I think that there's other questions for me that I really need your help with. The number one reason anybody ever takes an interest in Famous and Gravy, the first reason is because we feature a certain celebrity biography. My hope is that they stay to explore some of the bigger questions that I've been talking about a moment ago. So how can I do that better? There's other smaller stuff I've been thinking about. Should we introduce some new categories? Should we sunset some old categories? We have been on a really regular release cadence. I've been cranking out these episodes, sometimes weekly, but more often every other week. I don't know if that's the right thing to be doing. Maybe I should just be putting these episodes out when they're good and not really care what the schedule looks like. Or maybe y'all want to hear more of these and there's a way of kind of upping the release again. Another big question I have is around partners. We have managed to attract a few different partners to the table, probably most notably Wondery. Who else might we partner with? What other shows or people or organizations, should take an interest in Famous and Gravy and maybe even help us grow the show? A big question I have on my mind is video. I've always been of the belief that there's something really special about audio storytelling, both conversations and narrative shows that, when we as audience members just listen and we're not given the opportunity to see how people are talking, we are a little bit more attentive. We're better listeners. But maybe that's a dumb idea. Maybe I do need to be doing video. Maybe I need to be rethinking the whole thing. And, maybe just to return to where I sort of started this, how am I paying for all this? I have been pursuing an advertising supported model. Maybe I should be thinking about sponsors, or maybe I should be thinking about listener supported shows, or maybe there's something else out there, live events. I don't know. All of this is stuff I need your help with. If you've listened this far into this episode, my hunch is that you have some relationship with this show, and I'm hoping you can help. That can take kind of one of three forms. So one is, if you're willing to pop on a Zoom call with me, just send me an email and say, hey, Michael, would love to talk. We can find 30 minutes somewhere. I love talking to people in the audience. Usually I record some opening quizzes. So we might do that too, if you want to, but we don't have to. I just want to have conversations with people who care about the show. A second way is that you could just send me an email with whatever thoughts you have. I don't really care the form it takes. If you just want to give me blunt feedback, positive, negative, just whatever's on your mind, I'm good with it. I really am trying to double down on listening to, what you have to tell me. And then the last thing is I have created a little survey. I've tried to put some of these questions down. I've added a few other things that are on my mind. If you have a minute to look at that survey and fill out some answers, that would be extraordinarily helpful. It's been hard to come to this decision. I love working on this show. I look forward to every step of the process of every Famous and Gravy episode. I like picking who we're going to do next. I love doing the research. I love doing the recording. I enjoy the editing and post-production, and it feels great to put this stuff out there and to know that some of you are listening. So I don't think the show is done, but it is time to take a break and to pause. I think I will try to keep this feed updated from time to time. I might just come on and share what's on my mind and what's on my heart, kind of like I'm doing now. And, maybe I'll try and bring y'all some other interesting people or ideas or cross promotions with other podcasts if those opportunities come along. I want to make this interesting if I can. And the second thing I want to say is, thank you. Thank you. This show, the journey of Famous and Gravy over the last 4 or 5 years, has been one of the most exciting projects I've ever been involved with. I love what people experience on the show. I love what it brings out in me. I love what it brings out in my friends. The kind of surprising journey it's been on has been humbling, rewarding, exciting, awesome. And that's all because of you. That's all because you've made time for this podcast. So thank you. Thank you. From the bottom of my heart, thank you. I can't begin to express my gratitude. I'll leave it at that. I hope to hear from you. Have a great rest of your day.